and the recording is on. So once again, welcome everyone. It's Marcel here, and also John is here. And please, Tomasz, stop typing in the Discord chat. Okay, guys. So in this session, just confirm, please. Did I start the recording now? Is it on?
Yes, it's on.
It's on. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So in this session, we will start with the usual educational topic. And in this educational topic, we will talk about a really, really important thing. This won't be a real educational topic, but I will share with you guys that how I actually trade, because I saw that lots of you guys are confused about the entries. Lots of you guys are taking entries on the 1 minute chart randomly on a random 1 minute change of character in the middle of nowhere. And basically you are taking every single trade opportunity that's on your screen. You are taking every single change of character. You are taking every single break of structure, opening on every single supply and demand zone and order. And I just want to clarify that how do I actually enter in positions, and how do I take only the highest probability setups, and how can you actually take the highest probability setups. But listen here, guys, I've already showed you these examples. I've already told you how do I trade. You can see all of the recap videos. You can see all of the webinars that I'm making. You can see all of the backtesting sessions. That's how I actually take trades. But listen here, I will just show you in a few minutes, because this doesn't really require any further application than 5 or 10 minutes, because this is a really easy plan. For example, here's a demand zone. Let's say here's a demand zone. Above this demand zone, there's a supply zone, right? This is how it looks like. I will change the color. All of these zones are 15-minute zones. So this is a 15-minute zone, and this is a 15-minute zone too. Okay, how can you trade between these zones? Let me just show you. Okay, first I'm asking anyone who raises their hand first can answer this question. How can you take the highest probability setup regardless the trend on these zones? For example, price is somewhere around here. Here's price. How can you trade the highest? How can you take the highest probability setup when price is right here? What can you do in this scenario? Raise your hand if you'd like to talk. Who was that? It was, yeah. Pascal, please.
I would wait for it to tap or in the 15-minute supply or in the 15-minute demand. And there I would wait for a 1 minute choke. If it's with the trend, and if it's counter trend, I would wait for double confirmation on the 1 minute.
Exactly. Thank you. Perfect answer. This is the highest probability setup that you can take when price is right here in between the zones. So usually when price in between 15-minute zones, 15-minute demand, 15-minute supply zones, as Pascal said, you can simply wait for a tap of these 15-minute zones. You can simply wait for a mitigation of this 15-minute demand zone. And let's say the trend, the overall trend is bullish right now. So price is going in an uptrend, creating breakout structures to the upside, but we got this 15-minute supply zone up here. In this case, we can simply wait for a simple change of character to the upside. Simple change of character, because this is a pro-10 trade. You will wait for a good entry criteria with liquidity creation. You will enter on this demand zone. This is a really clean and simple setup that you can just take based on the 15-minute zones. Okay, but this is easy. Let's say price steps the 15-minute supply first, and price is still in an uptrend. So price is still creating series of higher highs, higher lows, but this 15-minute demand zone is being unmitigated. But before the mitigation of the 15-minute demand zone, price mitigates this random 15-minute supply zone from the past price action. So it was really far away. It was a 15-minute supply zone, but still a 15-minute supply zone. But at the current region, price is in a bullish trend. When this happens, you can simply just wait for a 1 minute structure to tap this 15-minute zone. And if it happens, you can simply wait for a strong change of character on double structural points. So for a counter trend trade, as I said, and as I broke it down in the webinar, lots of webinars, you can find it in the Telegram channel. You can wait for a strong change of character on the second structural low point. And if this happens with a good entry criteria, for example, liquidity creation, you can enter on this supply zone. And you can target, of course, the 15-minute demand zone. These are the most common scenarios for the trades, for the 15-minute zone trades, but there are more scenarios you can take. And once again, I'd like to ask your opinion about whether you think what could be the next possible scenario between these 15-minute zones. Anyone who raises their hand first can answer this question. Was it you again, Pascal? No?
No, I forgot to delete it.
Okay, never mind. So let me just explain. Yeah, Nikita, break of the zone could be another possible scenario, but that's still the 15-minute tap scenario. So if price taps the 15-minute supply zone first and can create a change of character on strong structural points, and it just reacts on a demand zone, you can wait for a break of this zone, you can wait for a pullback, you can wait for a confirmation. Yeah, a confirmation, because as I said in the past webinars, if a 15-minute zone is being broken, you can just simply mark a 5-minute zone out, wait for the 5-minute zone to be tapped, wait for a 1-minute change of character, and wait for a continuation. But I won't explain these scenarios in this session because I've already explained it several times, and you can check those past webinars. It's all in the Telegram channel. You can check all of these webinars. You can check all of the explanations. You can check all of the continuation scenarios. So if you haven't seen that already, please just check those videos, because that's why I make these sessions. For you to see and watch those sessions and to learn from these sessions. If I create a topic about something, for example, counter trend and pro trend trade, I won't talk about the topic once again because I've already talked about the topic in the webinar. If you haven't seen the webinar, just please watch it. Okay, so, but I'm not here to talk about the counter trend, etc., etc., etc. I'm here to talk about the entry models that you can take between these zones. So the highest probability setups, if you wait for simply the 50-minute zone taps, if you wait for the 50-minute demand or the 50-minute supply to be tapped and trade based on these 50-minute taps and 1-minute change of characters, these are the highest probability setups. But what happens if price, for example, in an uptrend, but it doesn't really matter, it could be also in a downtrend, but let's say it's in an uptrend right now, it's creating breakout structures to the upside over and over again, and price is currently at this region, for example, and this is the 1-minute structure. So this is the 1-minute structure right here. What can you do in this specific scenario? The thing you can do in the specific scenario, which is the highest probability setup you can ever take between these 50-minute zones, is a simple 5-minute zone tap and simple 1-minute change of character based on that 5-minute zone tap. So you don't have to wait for the mitigation of the 15-minute zone or the mitigation of this 15-minute zone if you'd like to take a trade between these zones. You don't have to wait for the 15-minute mitigation. Of course, if you are insecure about the setup, that's the highest probability that you can wait for, to wait for the tap of these 15-minute zones. But that's not the only scenario you can take in this case. You can just simply wait. For example, there's a 5-minute demand zone. There's a 5-minute demand zone above the 50-minute demand zone, right? On the 50-minute chart, this 5-minute demand zone is literally can be seen. This is how does it say? Okay, let's say it can be seen. You can see this 5-minute demand zone on the 15-minute chart. But if you switch to the 5-minute chart, you'll see this 5-minute zone right here, that it has flipped, for example, a supply zone right here, because it's a flip zone on the 5-minute chart. So you can just simply mark the 5-minute zones out between the 15-minute zones. If you mark the 5-minute zones out, you'll have a better clue about what you're doing, but where you can expect a reaction. And if price taps this zone and creates a reaction on this 5-minute zone, for example, creates a simple change of character, good entry criteria once again with liquidity creation or liquidity sweep from the upside and inefficiency, you know the criteria already. If price, it's not visible on the 5-minute, yeah. So if price creates this 5-minute zone tap and 1-minute change of character and the good entry criteria, the main thing right here is the good entry criteria. You have to wait for a good entry criteria every single time. You don't want to enter in a low probability setup. You don't want to force yourself into bad setups. You want to wait for a good entry criteria. And if this 5-minute zone tap happens and there's a change of character and there's a liquidity creation or there's a liquidity sweep or there's inefficiency, there's a flip zone, breakout structure, etc., 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 you can wait for a demand tap. You can set a limit order on this demand zone that could change character based on this 5-minute demand zone, and you can just simply target the next recent 50-minute zone also. But there's a chance that this setup won't work out. If this demand zone is part of the liquidity, so for example, there's a liquidity line inside of this demand zone, then you can't enter on this demand zone because this will be swept and this will be liquidity for the 50-minute demand zone. So that's why I always say that it's all about liquidity. It's all about how you react on zones, because it's all about reaction and liquidity, right? We got zones, we got supply and demand zones, and we got liquidity. We literally care about these two things the most. If there's a 5-minute zone, if there's a 15-minute zone, we will wait for those 5 and 15-minute zones to be tapped. Right? If there's liquidity, we will expect the zone to be swept, which has liquidity. And if the 5-minute zone has liquidity, just inside of this zone, there's liquidity, there's double bottoms. You can wait for a sweep of this zone. You can wait for a 15-minute zone tap. You can wait for a change of character. All of these scenarios will be changed. But if this 5-minute demand zone isn't part of the liquidity, then you'll be able to take a confirmation trade based on this zone. You don't have to wait for a 15-minute zone tap. But this also leaves on for the supply zones. So for example, there's this 5-minute demand zone. Okay, this 5-minute demand zone is still here, but price changes character right here. And there will be a 5-minute supply zone, right? Here's a 5-minute supply zone that has changed character here to the downside. You won't take a risk entry right here. You won't enter in a risk entry on this supply zone because the trend is bullish. So you want to wait for a 5-minute zone tap. You want to wait for the 5-minute zone to be tapped, this supply to be tapped. You want to wait for a confirmation entry right here on the 1-minute chart, and you want to enter based on that 1-minute confirmation entry right here on this supply zone that has changed character. And this will be a counter trend trade. This will be more likely a 1-to-5, 1-to-6, 1-to-7 risk-reward ratio trade, and you'll be able to take the next recent 5-minute demand zone where you can actually expect a reaction on. You can actually wait for a confirmation just like you did right here, and just like you did in the first scenario, because you can still trade the counter trend trades, but you literally have to think about the counter trend trades. You can't just trade brainlessly. You can't just trade like every single change of character that you see on chart, because this change of character right here could be a simple liquidity sweep. This could be a simple low takeout. Early buyers have been taken out on this point. Early buyers swept out, and this could easily continue the movement to the upside. That's why you have to wait for this zone, this 5-minute zone to be tapped. That's why you have to wait for a confirmation on this zone. And after a confirmation, you can simply enter in trade and target this demand zone right here, which is the next recent 5-minute unmitigated demand zone in the pro trend. And if this demand zone is being tapped, you'll be able to take a confirmation up to this supply zone. And if this supply zone is being tapped, then you can wait for a confirmation right here. You'll be able to target this demand zone, because all of these zones will be tapped sooner or later. If there's a 5-minute zone, sorry, let me just remove everything. If there's a 5-minute zone right here, and below this 5-minute zone, there's an extreme 15-minute zone, it doesn't mean that this 15-minute zone has to be tapped immediately. And this demand zone, this 5-minute demand zone has to be broken. It doesn't mean that all of these zones have to be tapped immediately if it's a pro trend. Price can just simply reverse. For example, like on this demand zone too, if there's a 5-minute demand zone, the less recent demand zone, less recent 5-minute demand zone, if price can change character on this demand zone, then all of these two demand zones down here will be left unmitigated. And after the 15-minute supply mitigation, price has a high chance to actually change character right here, mitigate these deeper demand zones. For example, like this, create a change of character on this zone, or go down to this and create a change of character on this zone. And after this, you can aim for a break of structure to the upside right here. You can aim for a supply break, another break of structure, because price is following a main trend. You know, it's creating break of structures over and over again. But you have to count on these zones. That's why we are trading zone to zone. That's why we are closing our positions on the less recent 5 and 15-minute zones, because we are trading zone to zones. And we know that each zone will give us a reaction. And if there's a reaction, we'll be able to trade based off that reaction. So once again, price could be also in a downtrend. So price could create bearish break of structures over and over again, break of structure to the downside over and over again. And you can still have this 15-minute demand zone down here. You can still have this 15-minute supply zone that has created the less recent break of structure right here. This supply zone has created the less recent break of structure. But on the 5-minute chart, for example, there will be like a supply zone that has created a flip zone, which is invisible on the 15-minute chart. So this supply zone has created a flip zone on this demand zone. For example, there's a good 5-minute flip zone, and you can just simply wait for a tap mitigation of this supply zone. Simple change of character because you're waiting for a pro trend trade. Simple change of character right here. Enter based on that 1-minute supply zone that changed character, targeting the 50-minute zone. But the same scenario lives on like the bullish example, when price just creates a change of character to the upside right here, mark out the 5-minute zone right here, wait for a 5-minute zone to be tapped, tap of this zone, wait for a confirmation, change of character right here, or strong change of character right here because it's a counter trend trade, strong change of character, enter in a trade based on this demand zone, target the next recent unmitigated 5-minute supply zone because it's pro trend. If you're targeting the supply zone, you can just simply wait for a confirmation here once again. If the confirmation happens, you enter here at this position, you target this demand zone. If this demand zone is being tapped, you wait for a confirmation on this demand zone. If the confirmation happens, you need a strong change of character because a counter trend trade. If the confirmation happens, you enter and target this supply zone right here. If the confirmation doesn't happen and this zone is just being broken, reaction, you wait for this demand zone. This will be a 15-minute/5-minute demand zone. I mean supply zone, sorry. You wait for this supply zone to be tapped. Change of character right here on the 1-minute chart, continuation. That's all. We are only trading based on these reactions. We are only trading based on these 5-minute and 15-minute zone reactions. Because of course you can take trades on every single 1-minute zone. You can take trades on, for example, let me just show you. So this is the last recent 5-minute zone, right? But the 1-minute chart looks like this, looks something like this. It's coming, creating this structure, creating supply zones over and over again. But the 5-minute is right here. There will be several. Oh my God, sorry. Okay, unfortunately, I deleted that. So let me just draw it back. So there will be several supply zones over and over again. There will be a supply zone on the 1-minute chart. There will be a supply zone. There will be a supply zone. So you can't just open a limit order on every single supply zone. You can't just open a limit order on this one, on this one, on this one. If this happens, literally, if this scenario happens, you can just simply wait for the confirmation on this 5-minute demand zone, because there's a higher chance that price will sweep all of these supply zones and tap into this 5-minute zone and follow the 5-minute structure and not just reverse on these 1-minute random zones, because 5-minute zones are stronger than 1-minute zones. It's obvious, right? Because 5-minute and 15-minute will be always stronger than the 1-minute chart. 5-minute and 15-minute structure will be always stronger than the 1-minute structure. And this goes on for the zones too. 5-minute, 15-minute zones stronger than the 1-minute zones. So these 5-minute and 15-minute zones are levitating price back up to them. So if there's a 5-minute supply zone, it is a higher chance. For example, this supply zone has a 60% chance to be tapped, and these zones have a, I don't know, I can't really, let's say there's 4 supply zones. This has a 10% chance, this is a 10% chance, this is a 10%, this is a 10%. So this has a 60% chance to levitate price back up to the supply zone and create a change of character on this one, then just react on these random 1-minute supply zones. That's why you have to wait for a 5-minute/15-minute zone taps, because these are the highest probability setups. You don't want to force yourself into bad setups. You don't want to force yourself into random 1-minute zone setups. You can just simply wait for a 5-minute zone to be tapped. And literally, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing over and over again. That's what the yesterday's trade recap video was about, right? 15-minute zone has been tapped. Main trend was bearish. 15-minute zone has been tapped. I mean, sorry, main trend was bullish yesterday. Yeah, main trend was bullish, but the counter trend trade was 15-minute chart is bearish. Supply has been tapped. 15-minute supply has been tapped. There was a change of character. There was a good entry criteria for me. I entered in a trade based on that 1-minute change of character. Once again, after this, another 5-minute zone has been tapped. Price has changed character again on that 5-minute zone. I entered in a trade. I'm trading based on literally only the 5-minute/15-minute zone reactions. In the 95% of the time, I'm only taking trades based on the 5-minute zones and based on 1-minute change of character inside of these 5-minute zones. If you watch all of my recap videos, you'll see that literally 90% of the time, I'm taking all of these trades. And I'm rarely 10% of the time taking the continuation trades on the 1-minute chart, because those have lower probability setups. Those are lower probability setups. Those have lower probability to play out, actually. That's why I'm only taking the 5-minute confirmations with, 5-minute zones with 1-minute confirmations. And that's why I'm asking you guys to sit patiently. You don't have to trade every single 1-minute zone. You don't have to trade every single character changing movement between this 15-minute zone and this 15-minute zone. You don't have to trade every single break of structure to the downside. You don't have to trade every single 1-minute zone. You can just simply sit patiently on your hand and wait for the 5-minute zone or the 15-minute zone to be tapped. And you are raging. I saw that lots of you guys are literally raging in chat that fuck me, price action is so fucking shit, fuck this fucking fuck. And you're just raging when you're forcing yourself into literally dog shit setups. You are trading based on the 1-minute chart only. That's why I always say, I can't say it, I literally can't say it nicer. Stop living on the fucking 1-minute chart. Switch to the fucking 5 and 15-minute chart. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Yeah, this is what I'm seeing in the chat, because after the end of the day, let's say New York session ends, and I see that lots of you guys are swearing. You're swearing that this fucking price action is so shit. I can't trade on this fucking Euro USD. No, the thing is that you can't trade because you are impatient, because you can't sit patient on your hands. You can't wait for a good confirmational setup, and you are forcing yourself into bad setups. And sorry for I'm being rude or swearing around, but you have to memorize this. And if I'm being rude, if I'm being hard on you, you'll memorize this, and you'll wait for the 5-minute zone taps. And this is the point of the trading. You don't want to trade every single character changing and breakout structure movement. you can wait for confirmation. That's this strategy. That's this fucking flipping strategy all about. And once again, sorry for the swearing, but I want you to memorize this. I want you to understand this, that you have to wait for these 5 minutes / 15-minute zones to be tabbed. Yeah, guys, and yeah, fuck this fucking fuck. I literally saw this written down in the chat. I literally saw this in the USD chat. I saw that someone wrote down that fuck this fucking fuck USD. And I was like, man, what the fuck? You're literally trading based on liquidity. You are becoming liquid in every single trade. In your literally every single trade of yours is liquidity, and you can't even wait for a 5-minute zone. And you are blaming price. You are blaming the community. You are blaming everyone but yourself. You are literally blaming everyone but yourself. And you can't find a mistake in yourself. You can't find a mistake in your trades. You are trying to find a mistake in the community. You are trying to find a mistake in the content, for example, the video course, for example, the PDF, and you're blaming everyone else but you. And I'm not saying that every one of you guys are doing this. I mean, like really small percentage of you guys are doing this, like 10 or 20 people. But still, there are people who are doing this, and you don't want to become those people who are doing this. Just simply wait for the tap of the zones, wait for the mitigation of the 5-minute zone, and watch all of my recap videos. I'm asking you guys to watch all of my recap videos. I'm not doing these recap videos to entertain myself. I'm not doing this to actually have fun because I'm enjoying recording the videos. I enjoy recording these videos, but I do it for you guys. Literally, just watch those videos and you'll see that I'm basically trading based on these 5-minute / 15-minute zone taps. And yeah, sorry, this has been 20 minutes already, and I said this will be a 5-minute topic, but sorry guys, I had to clear this up. And if I see that one of you guys will trade a random 1-minute trade on a random 1-minute zone after a random 1-minute breakout structure, I will kick you out from this group after this session. I swear, if you try to open a random shitty position inside of a liquidity pool, inside of a random breakout structure, I kick you out of this group. I want you to become successful. You won't become successful if you're trading on every single random shitty zone. I will kick you out because I really want you to become successful. And you will only become successful if you listen to these calls, if you listen to these zones, if you listen to what I'm saying to you. Because I'm only taking for like 3 or 5 or 8 trades a week, but mainly the average is 5 trades a week, not a day, a simple week, 5 trades a week. That's all I need. That's all I need to be profitable. And all of these trades, all of these five trades are from 1-minute / 15-minute zones. And that's what you have to understand. So yeah, guys, sorry for being so long on this topic, and sorry for swearing a lot, but I hope you memorize this. I hope you understood what I'm talking about. And I just want you to say, no, don't react. Just say yes in your microphone if you understood this. Just say yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Counting to 3. For 3,
Yeah.
everyone. Counting to 3. For 3, everyone literally shout yes if you understood this. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, guys. So that's enough about this topic. And I just create the tab analysis like usual, but let me just drink a few sips. Please, John, while I'm drinking, just talk to them. I'll talk about something.
Fuck this fucking fuck. You know, guys, this is the quote of the day.
Noted.
Yeah, but I didn't say this. I didn't say this. I literally didn't say this. It was written down in the chat. It was in the USD chat that fuck this fucking fuck. Someone said this.
I will watch the recording because of this.
Of course I will remember your codes. Fuck this fucking. Yeah, guys. At least you will remember. If I'm swearing, if these sessions are funny, at least you will remember that this fucking flipping market said that fucking fuck. And you will remember and you will laugh, but you will remember for what I was saying. And you will remember that this man said that open positions on these 5-minute zones, on these 15-minute zones, because you were saying fucking fuck if you don't follow his advice. That's it. Let me just read the chat real quick.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
10 people left this on call. Who was this actually? Did someone just puke into the microphone? Okay, guys, stop it. Take it seriously. We are continuing with the overall tab analysis on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so what has happened in the past 2 days on this week? Nothing much, right? Prices literally just tapped the supply zone up here. Sorry, just a minute. Okay, I'm here. So prices tapped the supply zone up here, right? And after tapping the supply zone, it has reversed to the downside immediately. And this supply zone was a daily supply zone. I can show you this on the daily chart. It will be much cleaner. Yeah, I refined this zone already for a buy to sell candle. As you can see, this is a buy to sell candle week. This topic has been already explained in the webinars. So please just check the webinar if you haven't seen that already. The name is literally buy to sell candles / sell to buy candles. So if you haven't seen that or don't know anything about the buy to sell candles, just watch that webinar. So I marked this buy to sell candle right here. Or yeah, it's actually a buy to sell candle, and refine the overall daily zone from this huge candle to this buy to sell candle. Prices mitigated this zone, as you can see perfectly. And after a mitigation, almost 50% mitigation right here, price just reversed to the downside with huge V-shape recovery, right? Price was coming up in an uptrend, creating breakout structures over and over and over again to the upside. And after this, prices reversed to the downside immediately with a V-shape recovery. You can literally see the V-shape. There's a V-shape. This is what we call a V-shape recovery. Top of this zone, immediate reaction, immediate reversal. That is what we call a V-shape recovery. Okay. After this, what can we see? We can see that prices change character here, here, and here to the downside, right? But this could be also a liquidity sweep, because this on the 15-minute chart is a perfect liquidity line, and on the 15-minute chart there was a perfect liquidity double bottoms also. So this could have been a liquidity sweep to the downside, because as you can see, there was a 4-hour candle which has been refined on the 15-minute chart. This is a 15-minute demand zone. This is a 15-minute zone refined from this 4-hour candle. And after a mitigation of this candle and after a liquidity sweep, there was a huge reversal to the upside, as you can see. The footprint is literally in front of you. Tap, V-shape, reversal. This is a V-shape again. Okay, what can we expect from price right here? Actually, if price reverses here and creates, for example, a demand tap right here, taps this supply zone up here, this 4-hour supply zone that has caused the change of character. If this supply zone is being tapped up here and creates a 15-minute change of character on this supply zone, then we can expect a deeper mitigation, as I explained this in the markups yesterday or the day before yesterday. So we can expect a mitigation of this demand zone down here. And after this demand mitigation, we can expect a continuation to the upside, because price is following an extremely bullish trend, as you can see. But I see more reality that price will actually change character right here and break below this demand zone, or even break below this demand zone too, because this overall upside movement, this overall 4-hour bullish movement is just a pullback of the daily chart. So if we have switched to the daily chart, you'll see that this small bullish movement was just the pullback of the overall bearish structure on the daily chart. So as you can see, price is following an insanely bearish structure, downside movements over and over and over again. And this upside movement was just a small pullback of the overall daily bearish structure, just like this. As you can see, here's this supply zone, downside movement, small upside movement, step, continuation. Just like here, upside and downside movement, continuation, downside movement, upside movement, potential tap, change of character, continuation. This is what the structure looks like. I'm still expecting the break of this weekly low point right here. I'm still expecting the bearish continuation to the downside. But this is the future. We can't really predict the future. We just have to take care about the present. We just have to take care about what we see in the present, what we see on our charts right now. And our charts are showing that price has created a change of character to the downside of the 4-hour chart, which can be decided if it was just a liquidity sweep or it was a real change of character. After the character changing movement or the liquidity sweep movement, prices tapped into a demand zone and reacted strongly on this demand zone. If the supply zone will be tapped, that has caused the change of character / sweep, and this supply zone can create a change of character on the 15-minute chart, then we'll know that this was a change of character movement, and we can expect the continuation to the downside, and we can expect the next recent valuable demand zone to be tapped, which is this one, because prices built up more liquidity here, as you can see, built up for this demand zone right here. This is the first possible scenario. If this demand zone, this supply zone can't change character here, it will break above this supply zone, and the continuation will happen to the upside to the next recent daily demand zone, supply zone right here. or this is a 4-hour supply zone. Yeah, this is a 4-hour supply zone right here, as you can see, which has caused a nice character changing movement right here to the downside and has huge amount of liquidity pool just below it. If this scenario happens and price breaks above the supply zone, then we can expect the continuation up to that supply zone. It's all about reaction. We have the 4-hour zones, we can react on these 4-hour zones, and we can just simply wait for these zones to be tapped. But of course, we will trade in between these zones too. We won't wait for this supply zone to be tapped, and we won't wait only for this opportunity that after a tap we will happen to trade. We can trade simply based between the demand zone and between the supply zone. This is the 4-hour and 15-minute chart scenario. Just like we used it on the 50-minute and 1-minute chart. All of these time frames are correlated. All of these time frames are fractal. We can trade between this supply zone and this demand zone. The way I showed you, there will be more 50-minute demand zones right here, and the 50-minute demand reaction happens right here. Character changing movement, we can target this supply zone. If there will be a supply zone on the 50-minute chart, we will wait for a supply tap, character changing movement, demand reaction. That's all about. The trading is all about reaction. This strategy is all about reaction. You have to follow this reaction-based strategy, and you'll be able to make consistent profit based on those scenarios that I showed you on the 50-minute and 5-minute and 1-minute chart. If you're following these scenarios, and if you're only trading on these scenarios, on these zones that I just showed you, you'll be profitable. If you learn how to keep sitting on your hands patiently, waiting for the best scenarios, you'll be profitable. If you'll be like a kid jumping on every single character changing movement and jumping on every single breakout structure, like a literal kid that just can't wait patiently sitting on their hands, then you'll be in a loss. You'll be losing. You won't be profitable. You'll be only become profitable if you learn how to be patient in this market. If you're impatient, you'll be losing money. That's all. That's the deadline. That's the end line. Nothing else about this. Okay. So if price, continuing the 4-hour structure, sorry, if price breaks below this low point and can tap into this supply zone, but it, for example, taps this demand zone, there will be a 50-minute demand zone somewhere around here, taps this 50-minute demand zone, creates a reaction, creates a change of character, then we'll be able to target this supply zone. And after this reaction, after this scenario, the same scenarios for the supply zone will be left that I just show you. Remember, if it breaks, then we'll continue the movement to the upside. If it holds and creates a change of character, then we'll target this demand zone. If this demand zone breaks right here to the downside, we'll be able to take a continuation down to this zone once again. And this will be a 50-minute confirmation again, because if this zone breaks on the 50-minute chart, there will be a 50-minute supply zone. If this 50-minute supply will be tapped, we'll be waiting for a 1-minute change of character. We are targeting this zone. That's all about. Trading is all about reaction. Trading is all about patience and waiting for the best scenarios, waiting for the best probabilities. That's all about the 4-hour chart. Let's just switch to the, or let me just fix on these zones. Let me switch to the 15-minute chart and take a look at the 15-minute chart. What can we see on the 15-minute chart? So I already broke it down in yesterday's. Let me just read the chat. Okay. So I already broke it down in the recap video. And once again, guys, if I'm asking for a reaction on a recap video, it isn't about, once again, entertaining myself or just being proud of myself that I booked 100 fire averages on a video. It's not about this. I'm tracking the popularity of each content. I'm actually thinking about deleting the recap videos from the overall content of tables, because these videos aren't getting high reactions. If there will be 50, 60 reactions on a recap video, I won't be making these recap videos because you are no longer interested in these recap videos. I will make any other content, but not recap videos. But if you are reacting on these recap videos, if you are pressing a reaction, I will see that you're actually interested in these recap videos, and I will keep them and I will keep making them. But if you can't react on these videos, that will mean that you don't really care about these recap videos, you don't really care about these type of contents, and I can simply just delete this from the table of contents. But if you react on these, I will know that you are interested in these. That's all. That's all about. So please just keep reacting on these videos, on the contents, on the case studies, everything else, because these are helping me. These reactions are helping me to actually track the popularity of each content. Because if you are no longer interested in a, for example, case study or recap video, we won't be making these case studies and recap videos. We'll be making something else. I can see that lots of you guys are typing, no, I enjoy case studies, keep making, thank you. But it's all about the reaction. It's literally just all about the reaction, because you can understand my point of view that why would I make recap videos when none of you guys are enjoying this, or maybe 10% of the group is enjoying those recap videos. Instead of making those recap videos, I can make other contents for you, which could be more enjoyable for you. But if you are enjoying those videos, just press the reaction. That's literally just a simple click. Just listen to this. It takes like this, just a simple click. That's what you have to do if you're enjoying the recap videos, if you're enjoying the content, if you're seeing the markups. It's all about this. So yeah, thank you guys. Let me just continue. I just want to clear this topic because yeah, it's really, really important for us to react on these videos. And once again, we are not laughing out in ourselves that, haha, John, I just made 100 likes on a video, or fire emojis. I'm so cool. I'm such a cool guy for making 100 emojis. No, it's not about this. So I'm not asking for reactions for this. I'm literally tracking the popularity. I'm literally tracking the overall success of these contents. So yeah, thank you guys. Okay, let me just drink a sip and continue the 15-minute chart. So as I broke it down in yesterday's recap video, price has changed character right here on the 4-hour chart, right? But also, as if you take a closer look, this is a liquidity line on the 15-minute chart, which has been swept by this overall downside movement. And there was liquidity also. This was a liquidity line, this was a liquidity line, second bottom. And price has swept this liquidity into this valuable demand zone here, as you can see. There was a really, really valuable 15-minute demand zone that has caused an actual huge inefficient movement to the upside, liquidity sweeping movement right here, and character changing movements on several places, for example, like change character on this structural high point, this structural high point, this structural high point, so in several places, right? And also this is a flip zone too, because price was reacting on some sort of supply zone here. Here's a reaction, and from this demand zone, price has changed character here to the upside and created this flip zone. Also, this flip zone had liquidity above it, as I explained it in yesterday's recap video. And this liquidity has been swept, as you can see. Liquidity sweeping movement to the downside, tap of this 15-minute demand zone, and after a tap, there was an immediate reversal. This is a V-shape recovery. Coming down, tap, immediate reversal, V-shape recovery. After this, it changed character here on the 15-minute chart, as you can see, and could mitigate the zone right here that I just explained for you in the recap video. I won't explain it again because it has been explained in the recap video. And after could mitigating this zone, it just continued the movement to the upside and broke above the next recent unmitigated supply zone 2 that we were expecting a reaction on. As you can see, this zone could give a reaction, a huge reaction, because this zone has been tapped with this candle, with this wick, as you can see. And after a tap, there was an immediate reaction, an immediate reversal to downside. After a mitigation, prices reversed down to this area. So this was a really, really huge pullback, but it wasn't strong enough to actually reverse price. And actually, as you can see, after this, prices broke structure to the upside and changed character here with a body closure, and also swept some liquidity from above this supply zone. There was liquidity line, huge liquidity line, first tap, second, third, fourth, fifth tap. And this liquidity sweeping candle has swept all of that liquidity, but it has created more liquidity too, as you can see. Let me just remove these drawings. So it has created more liquidity, as you can see. So more liquidity has been created. Upside liquidity, upside liquidity, upside liquidity, built up for this character changing 4-hour zone. So I'm really expecting the mitigation of this 4-hour zone and reaction on this zone, but we will see. So after the liquidity creation, prices created a pullback right here, as you can see. And this pullback more likely mitigated a 5-minute supply zone, demand zone somewhere around here. And there should be a 5-minute demand zone. We'll find the actual 5-minute demand zone on the 5-minute chart, not on the 15-minute chart. And after mitigation of this demand zone, prices change character here, as you can see. There was the downside movement, less recent downside movement, less recent high, and prices broke over this less recent high with this inefficient movement to the upside, created another demand zone, which will be a 5-minute demand zone once again, more likely here, as you can see, that has caused this huge inefficient movement to the upside, and price is currently reacting on this demand zone. Okay. Just for the clarity, I will go to the 5-minute chart and find those zones. Okay, so here was the 5-minute zone that I was talking about. That was price reacting on, that has caused the inefficient movement here to the upside. Liquidity just below, sweep of the liquidity, continuation, and character changing movement. And as you can see, here's that 5-minute demand zone that I was talking about. Yeah, we can use this wick right here. And this is the character changing extreme of the movement wick, as you can see, that has caused this huge inefficient movement to the upside that has changed character here, here, and also here. Okay. So go back to the 15-minute chart because we have to talk about the 15-minute possibilities. As you can see, we are in between zones. Once again, let me just switch back to the 5-minute chart and mark the valuable zone down here. We are in between zones. We have this valuable extreme of the movement zone right here, which is also 50-minute and a refined 5-minute zone. So we have this zone down here that has caused the overall character changing movement after a mitigation of this demand zone, right? I will delete this zone for now. I will delete these movements because this could be annoying for you. Sorry if you couldn't see anything from these markups. But okay. So after the mitigation of this demand zone and liquidity sweeping movement right here, prices reverse to the upside immediately with the V-shaped recovery. The origin of this reversal and the character changing movement right here was this demand zone, this 5-minute demand zone down here. Same scenario lives on that I just showed you in today's educational topic. There's 5-minute zones, there's a 5-minute zone, there's the extreme zone. You don't have to wait for the extreme to be tapped. You don't have to wait for a mitigation of this zone to actually take a trade. You don't have to wait for a mitigation of this zone to take a trade. You can just simply wait for a confirmation on this 5-minute zone, and the confirmation happens. And I believe this zone will be swept because there's liquidity, as you can see. There's a perfect liquidity line inside of this zone. So I believe this liquidity will be swept into deeper regions. So if this character changing movement right here happens, for example, after a liquidity sweeping movement, you'll be able to target this supply zone. If price can change character right here, and if, for example, breaks below this demand zone, breaks structure, change character, you'll be able to take a trade based on this new 5-minute supply zone that will be formed somewhere around here. If this 5-minute supply zone will be formed after a break of this structure and change of character to the downside and liquidity sweep, you'll be able to take a trade based on this 1-minute confirmation that will present on this supply zone. And if there will be a continuation and a confirmation, you'll be able to take a trade down to this demand zone. And if this demand zone will be tapped, you'll be able to wait for a confirmation, and you'll be able to target this supply zone up here, or you can just simply target a realistic supply zone somewhere around here for 1 to 10 risk reward ratio. Once again, this is all about reaction. That's what I showed you in the educational topic in this session, that you can simply wait for a 5-minute zone confirmation, you can simply wait for a 15-minute zone confirmation, and you don't have to wait for the extremes to be tapped every single time. So let me just switch to the 5-minute chart and see if there's on the 1-minute chart that we have a cleaner zone somewhere around here, I believe. Yeah, below this liquidity line, as you can see, we can identify a good demand zone on the 1-minute chart that has caused the overall character changing movement on the 1-minute chart, right? So price is coming down, mitigated the demand zone. Do you remember this demand zone? What it did? This demand zone created the strong change of character right here to the upside, and it created liquidity and swept liquidity, right? After this demand tap, price has changed character on the 1-minute chart. So it has been tapped. This is a 15-minute zone. So 1-minute change of character is perfectly enough. That's why I will use this 1-minute zone for the character changing movement. This demand zone called the character changing movement. Here was the last point of the mitigation. It couldn't break over the supply zone. It was a flip zone, as you can see. And from this demand zone, it has flipped the last recent supply and broke above this structural high point. It has created a 5-minute change of character right here. More likely, this was a 5-minute character changing movement and started the overall bullish order flow to the upside. It had this simple 1-minute demand zone has started this huge overall order flow to the upside. And now this demand zone has huge liquidity and just below it. Just like the 15-minute example. Right? That's why I say that all of the time frames are fractal. Just look at this. This is the simple, I mean, literally the exact same scenario that has happened on the 15-minute chart that is happening on the 1-minute chart. Can you notice this pattern? There was a flip zone. Demand that has flipped the last recent supply, started the overall bullish order flow. Liquidity has been created. Huge liquidity line has been created for this zone. Depth of this zone, continuation to the upside. This exact same thing is happening on the 1-minute chart. That's why I'm always saying that time frames are fractal, and everything that's happening on the 15-minute chart will happen on the 1-minute chart also. Everything that's happening on the monthly chart will happen on the 5-minute chart also. So as you can see, the exact same scenario that has happened. Here was the last recent supply, reaction, rejection, and after this, from this demand zone, prices flipped this zone and created a huge bullish order flow to the upside. And here's the overall simple and strong liquidity line, just like on the 15-minute chart. Literally, this 1-minute section of the chart looks like literally the 15-minute section of that chart. The exact same thing is happening, as you can see. So what can we expect here? We can expect the mitigation of this demand zone down here. We can expect the sweep of this liquidity, and we can expect the confirmation on this zone, right? If the confirmation happens, we can take this trade up to some supply zone. For example, on the 50-minute chart, we will find some good supply zone that we can target with our short, or we can just or we can just simply target this liquidity line right here. Or if you are greedier, you can target the 4-hour supply zone. It's all about reaction. It's all about recognizing the actual liquidity. It's all about recognizing the demand zones. It's all about reacting on these demand zones and supply zones, of course. So as you can see, just let me show you this once again. I will just simply screenshot this moment right here. Not like this. Like this. Switch to the 50-minute chart. Take a look at this. And take a look at this. 1-minute chart, 50-minute chart. The exact same thing that happened. Flip zone. Flip zone. Where's the flip zone? Here's the flip zone. Supply, supply. Reaction, reaction. Demand, demand. Huge inefficient movement to the upside, huge inefficient movement to the upside. Flip of the supply zone, flip of the supply zone. Change of character, huge cancellation to the upside, huge cancellation to the upside. First liquidity here, first liquidity here, second liquidity here, second liquidity here. Pullback of the huge movement, pullback of the huge movement. And right now it's in a demand zone. And we can expect a tap, and we can expect the mitigation of this demand zone. We could have expected the mitigation of the demand zone happen. We are expecting the mitigation of this demand zone. It will happen. So that's why I'm saying that every single time frame is correlated. Every single time frame is fractal. The exact same thing will happen on the 1-minute chart that's happening on the 50-minute chart. Literally, the exact same thing will happen. That's why it's really, really strong that's combining the 15-minute with the 1-minute. That's why it's really strong to combine the 5-minute with the 1-minute, because these time frames are correlated. And if the 5-minute is, for example, doing like a bullish structure, and there will be a 5-minute zone, then the 1-minute will be doing the bullish structure too, because if the demand zone tap will happen, the 5-minute demand zone tap will happen, then the 1-minute will turn into bullish too, and 1-minute will do exactly the same as the 5-minute. All of the time frames are fractal. So yeah, basically, let me just switch back to the 5-minute chart. Basically, there's the last recent supply zone that has caused the last recent break of structure to the downside. What can we do here? It's not that. Yeah. It's part of the lunchtime zone. So we'll mark out another supply zone right here that has caused the first inefficient movement. What can we do here? We can wait for a confirmation on this lunchtime zone. If the confirmation happens, we can take a trade down to this demand zone. If the confirmation can't happen, we will wait for the tap of this supply zone. We will wait for a confirmation. We will wait for the tap of this demand zone. Etc. Just like the same scenarios like on the 4-hour chart. If the confirmation can't happen on this zone, we will wait for a break of this zone, and we will take confirmation to the upside based on this 5-minute zone that has caused the break. We will wait for confirmation on this 5-minute zone too. With the confirmation, we will go along. It's all about confirmation. It's all about reaction. It's all about how you mark your zones and how you react on those zones. And literally, that's all you have to learn. All you have to practice. All you have to study. Every single material needed for this type of trading is in front of you. That's why I'm creating recap videos. That's why I'm creating case studies. That's why I'm creating webinars every single week, several webinars. That's why I'm creating psychological talks, these kind of sessions to show you how to trade based with this strategy. Because if you truly understand how this strategy works, how the reactional based strategy works, you'll be unstoppable. Because once you understand that you know how to take every single character changing movement and break of structure movement, then you will become unbeatable. Just like some of you guys have already learned this. Some of you guys are already using this. And most of those guys who already practice this and learn this, how to take only the highest probability setups, are being profitable right now. Some of these guys haven't taken a trade in a single week or 2 weeks, haven't taken a single trade on those 2 weeks, and waited for a banger and booked like 20 risk reward in a single trade. It's all about patience. It's all about reaction. And yeah, that's the deadline for this session. I hope it was enjoyable for you, and I hope you learned something new, and I hope you will memorize that I was talking about. And yeah, guys, I will send you the markup updates. I will send you the 15-minute, 5-minute chart markup that you can see on my screen. And thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being part of the community. and wish you a beautiful and profitable trading day, guys. So let's kill the market together. And yeah, let's fucking fuck. Take care, guys. See ya.
Take care, guys.